Good afternoon, and welcome to the Garfield Heights City School District Midday Town Hall. My name is Yolanda Hamilton, and I am the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Consultant for the district. I want to personally thank you for making the time to tune into this live broadcast today. And for those of you that may watch the replay later, feel free to email questions that you may have regarding the information shared during our time together. We will be sure that someone from the district gets back with you to respond to your questions. The information will be shown on one of the slides featured during this presentation today. So joining us here today, we have our superintendent, Dr. Richard Reynolds, along with the leadership teams across buildings and departments. When I call out your building or department, please introduce yourself in 20 seconds or less and just state briefly what safety means to you. So we'll start off with the high school.
Hi, I am Ashley Ward. I'm one of the assistant principals here at the high school. Safety, I believe safety means to us that we are creating an environment where everybody feels comfortable to be themselves, to belong in our building, and ultimately to just feel free to come and enjoy school and do all the things that we want to see them do.
Thank you. Middle school.
Hello, everyone. I am Mrs. Adrian Klopman, principal of Garfield Heights Middle School. And what does safety mean to me? That means that you enjoy coming to work, to school, learning, being in a safe environment where you can grow and prosper with your staff and colleagues.
Okay, we'll have William Foster, then Elmwood, then Maple Leaf.
Please, Akila and Adam, please report to the main office.
Maple Leaf.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Paul Glazer. I'm the assistant principal at Maple Leaf. Safety and security to us is a foundation for everything we do to ensure students can focus on why we're here, which is academic success.
Thank you. And have our representatives from William Foster or Elmwood joined us? Okay. Pupil services.
Good morning, afternoon, everyone. I'm Gordon Dupree, Director of Pupil Services, and safety to us means that when you parents, grandparents, aunts are at work or at home, you can be certain that your young people are safe in school as well as on the bus.
Family engagement.
Hello, my name is Gina Wilson, Supervisor of Pupil Services. And just as Dr. Free stated, safety is ensuring that all stakeholders that are part of the city school district family have an environment where they feel welcome and want to come to school every single day.
Okay. DEI. Mr. Hurt.
Good morning. My name is Tim Hurd. I'm Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Learning Coordinator for the district. Safety, from my lens, is ensuring that not only do kids feel safe in their learning environment, but the transportation to and from school also ensures that kids arrive safely and that the parents feel comfortable allowing their kids to board our buses and to our buildings, knowing that their kids will be returned to them safely at the end of the school day.
Okay. Transportation.
Hi, I'm Carrie Burkholz. I'm the Supervisor of Transportation. And our goal with safety is to ensure that all your children get to and from school in a safe manner and can be able to enjoy their learning environment once they get there.
My name is Gary Moore. I'm the operations manager, and I feel the same way. When that door opens in the morning, I don't want you to have any worries about your child getting to and from school because we have some of the best drivers known to man. So that's our job, is to get them to and from school every day safely.
Thank you. And so you are all the team that makes sure that we ensure the safety of our students during their school day. And as our motto goes, we are working for every child every day together. So let's hop right into this conversation. So Dr. Reynolds, I like to start off, just like our families tuning in, you also are a parent, correct? And you remember the days when your children were in K through 12 and sending them off to school. And as a parent, and as a superintendent, you know safety concerns that families have when they send their kids out to school. So I'm going to ask if you could just share briefly with the families that are tuning in about safety as a priority for our district.
Yes, and thank you for this opportunity as well. And yes, I am a parent. I have a lot of children. And a lot of the decisions that we make in the district, or all the decisions we make in the district, I'm taking the lens of a parent. What do our children need? What do we want our children to be able to do? And what opportunities do we want our children to be able to have? But when it comes to safety and security, as a parent, I want to be sure that once we send our children to school, that they are safe, that they are being responded to in a way that's not only just kind of the safety that we usually just think about with, with just kind of bodily safety, but we're also thinking about social and emotional learning as well. So we want to approach the effort of talking about the whole child when we're talking about safety the same as well, to make sure that once they're walking in the building, they don't have any concerns about anyone coming in and assaulting them or bullying or any of the situations that could happen in school, that we are addressing those things and we're putting some structures in place to ensure that those things are not happening. But we're also focusing on the social emotional learning of students and ensuring that they have that person in the building that they can connect with, that have that relationship with, to feel free to talk about their feelings, talk about the things that they're going through, and to really start developing some skills and coping skills when things are not working the way that they would like them to, but being able to adjust to those things and how to respond to those. But when we're talking about safety and security, that is priority. We cannot get to learning if our students are feeling unsafe or they're feeling like their needs are not being met. So safety is a priority that will allow us to get to the learning, but we have to take care of those issues first. And so that's why it is top priority for us to ensure that we're responding to the safety and security of not only just our children, but we're responding to the safety and security of our staff members as well.
Thank you. So let's head over to the high school and middle school. Can you share a bit with our families? What are some of the safety measures and precautions that you have implemented in your building for this year to ensure the safety of your students? And we'll start off with that. It's a two-part question. So if you can address that first, and then we'll go into the second part.
Perfect. So at the high school, first of all, we are so happy to welcome our students into the building every single day. And we really hope that, all of our families entrust that we are keeping safety to be the utmost importance and the biggest priority for us. During our school hours, our building is equipped with all the state-of-the-art security systems, including those metal detectors, to ensure that no unauthorized items are entering the premises. That's part of our commitment to maintaining a secure campus. In addition to that, we do have 5 dedicated security personnel who monitor the building and its surroundings at all times. They're trained to respond swiftly to any potential security issues. At the high school as well, we are blessed to have our student resource officer here, Officer Zupanzik. He works very closely with us to address safety concerns, and also helps kind of conduct those regular safety drills to prepare students and staff in case of emergencies. Ultimately, our building also has a comprehensive safety plan that we have built with administrators, security, and teachers and all other staff to make sure that we're best serving our school community. We also have a monthly safety committee that meets to discuss any sort of safety concerns that might kind of just come up across the board, things we're seeing in the hallways, in classrooms, anything really to just make sure that we are keeping our student safety and our staff safety in mind at all times.
Thank you. Ms. Klopman?
Hello again. So some of the things that we have at the middle school, we do have 4 security officers. At the start of the day, students come through metal detectors as well as their backpacks are checked. All students have clear book bags that are provided for them. Students who are play a sport or cheer are allowed to bring in additional book bag as well, and that is searched. And their backpacks and their coats are to be placed in their lockers once they have gone through security. We also have any visitors that come inside the building, whether it's outside counselors or parents coming in, they also go through security and get checked as well before entering inside the school. So during the day, our security guards assist with clearing the halls during transitions. checking the restrooms and those high hiding areas that students seem to always find where they shouldn't be. So they are constantly on the move. We practice monthly fire safety drills. We just completed our building evacuation drill a few weeks ago. So students know the expectations when it's necessary to be swift and moving out the building quickly. During dismissal, we made an adjustment to have a security guard to remain back at the building to make sure that all students are off premises when it is time. We also have security walk up to Maple Leaf to make sure our students are doing the right thing, being safe, respectful, and responsible on their way home. And we do weekly check-ins with our security team because they see things that admin does not always see, and we make adjustments as needed. And we also include our staff in these meetings as well because they see things that we don't see either. And as soon as we find those out, we make quick adjustments and provide feedback.
Thank you. And before we jump into that second part, I want to go ahead and give Mr. Glazer opportunity to share some of the safety measures and precautions that are at his building this year.
Hello, at Maple Leaf, the safety and security of our students is the #1 priority. We put in place many safety procedures to ensure a secure learning environment. We have 2 dedicated security guards who provide a warm welcome to our students each morning as students arrive. We have 1 single entry point into our building each morning to make sure there's no unauthorized individuals coming into the building. We have several staff members in the parking lot during arrival and dismissal to ensure students can safely enter and exit their cars and their school buses, or if they're walking home, or if they're meeting their siblings coming from the middle school. Throughout the school day, our security guards diligently patrol the building. We have a guard assigned to each floor, 1 on the first floor and 1 on the second floor. They monitor students in the hallways, their class attendance. They offer guidance to students as needed. And they also ensure that all of our exterior doors remain securely locked throughout the day. We also regularly conduct safety drills, covering scenarios such as shelters in place, lockdowns, fire drills, tornado drills, and evacuations. In addition to that, our PBS team here at the school meets monthly. They review data and we make adjustments as needed to ensure students are demonstrating safe and positive behaviors in our school building.
Thank you. So thank you for speaking to that. And can you share with the parents, how can they partner with you to ensure that their students are safe upon their arrival and dismissal from school?
So the big thing is following our, all of our procedures in the morning. We have certain enter and exit points for traffic patterns, how people enter our parking lot, exit our parking lot. Again, we have staff out there each morning directing traffic, greeting students when they get off the bus. We unload 1 bus at a time to make sure the students can get across our parking lot, across the crosswalk safely, making sure they're walking, and just promoting our 3 PBS expectations are be safe, be respectful, and be responsible. So, that starts from the minute the students get out of their cars, enter the building, and we take that with them throughout their school day.
Thank you. Ms. Klopman and Ms. Ward, what are some other things that parents can do to support you and partner with you in ensuring the safety of students once they enter the buildings?
From the high school, I think the biggest piece is just communicating with us. We know we can't do this alone, and we encourage our parents to really partner with us in ensuring that our school remains safe. Staying engaged not only in your child's education, but also, joining different committees like the PTO and things, and reporting any sort of safety concerns you might have. We know that our parents sometimes see a lot more than we do as well, so any of that sort of communication is super helpful. Building that strong collaborative relationship between home and school is really a key aspect to maintaining that security within our building. One of the other big things is really just kind of following through with our school protocols. If you need your student to be dismissed early, making that phone call, that way they're not just walking out of the building and causing concerns. So it's really following through on those steps that we have in place here at the building to make sure that they're communicating with us appropriately so we can get everybody where they need to safely. It is really our top priority in making sure that they trust us with their students' education and well-being. And we're going to work hard to do that as long as they continue to, enforce those sorts of things for us at home as well.
So I echo with Ms. Ward. She took the words right out of my mouth. However, I would like to add that during dismissal time here at the middle school, We make announcements so the people outside can hear our announcements. So the parents who are waiting for their child in the car hear what we're saying, being safe, respectful, and be responsible on your way home. You know, don't bother the businesses, don't bother the students at Maple Leaf. They're still in instruction. We also send out weekly reminds to parents. And so that's another way that we communicate the expectations of the building and just to have that two-way communication and back and forth, because parents do hear things before we do, and just bring it to us so we can take the necessary steps to make sure that everyone is remaining safe.
Thank you. And I just want to remind our audience that's viewing, if you have any questions during this town hall, feel free to either send a text to 216-342-8402. Again, that's 216-342-8402. Or you can email Ms. Wilson at gwilson@ghbulldogs.org. That's gwilson@ghbulldogs.org. So thank you for sharing that valuable information. And I want to hop over next to safety and security. We have Officer Chapman, who has joined us and is the newest member of our team working to ensure the safety of students in our district. Officer Chapman, if you would like to just briefly introduce yourself and maybe share some of the things that you're seeing and things that you're implementing regarding safety for our district at large, that would be great.
Okay, good morning. I don't know if everybody can hear me, but hopefully it's all good. All right. I just started here as the safety director maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I come from a background of security for over 20 years in the correctional field. I'm also a football coach, and so I'm definitely aware of kind of what goes on in schools as well. A lot of the things I've witnessed as far as going around and things that I would like to implement is definitely a few more officers for the middle school and high school. It is a larger area to cover. We do have a abundance of students, so that would be an area I was looking into as far as middle school and high school, as well as using badges, ID badges for all our students. I think is very key and important to find out who's in the building and who's not supposed to be in the building, and kind of where they want to be. I mean, where they should be as far as their picture, grade, and everything of that nature. Getting more visual on our camera system as well. We have a camera system, and we kind of need somebody to monitor that situation to kind of deploy our officers to the right areas. So when we do have those blind spots and some of those trouble times where we're in transitions and things of that nature. As far as everything else, it's kind of a work in progress. But those are the main things right now that I'm looking into, try to jumpstart everything for this year and kind of get the ball rolling.
Thank you, Officer Chapman. And again, welcome to our district. And so in moving on and continuing with the conversation, I would like to really speak to the attendance piece, and that's part of safety and how our parents can work to help to ensure student safety regarding attendance. And I know that Mr. Hurt, our diesel team, also Ms. Rice, we have been having conversations about that. Mr. Hurt, if you could just speak to that, employing the parents as to how they can support the district in terms of our attendance and student success and how that ties into safety.
So, great question. A way that parents can support our efforts in getting a handle on the attendance, and we know that attendance issues are prevalent nationwide. So the Garfield approach would be, we're really being intentional about the attendance of our students in the buildings every day. So parents can support in that way by ensuring that their students get to school on time, that if there's a situation where the student won't be at the building at the prescribed time, that the parents are communicating. Also, check-ins with their students throughout the day to make sure that they're where they're supposed to be, or even if we have situations where the parents are receiving attendance calls, to be very proactive in reaching out to the buildings to ensure that their students are making it to their classes on time. The safety reasoning behind that is we're responsible for these precious students from the time they start their journey to school to the time they leave. And it's important that we know where they are at every given moment so that in the event of a situation of emergency, that we're able to communicate with the parents and able to ensure that we are putting the student safety first.
Thank you. Okay, so another piece of ensuring student safety is making sure that they get to school safely. And we work with Ms. Carrie Burgholtz and her wonderful team in doing that. And I would like to just ask Transportation to share briefly about safety from your perspective and how parents can support and partner with you all in ensuring the safety of their students in their transit to school.
Absolutely. Well, the safety measures, they start right here at the transportation garage. So our drivers, they all pre-trip their buses every morning before they even go out on the runs. They check all the lights and the fluids to make sure that the bus is running properly. We also have the State Highway Patrol, which inspects our bus several times a year. So we know our buses are running good. And then this year, it's great because we added a lot more staff. So we have aides on all of our buses this year, which is wonderful because it helps us to be able to take attendance on the buses and make sure the students are all getting on and off at the right places. So that's been very helpful this year. Some of the concerns we like to address are the parents getting on the buses. That's something that we've had problems with in the past. And it's not because we don't want you or we don't want to welcome you, but more so because, you know, we don't know. We know the students, but we don't know all of our parents. So there could be people that shouldn't be getting on with the student getting on and stuff. So we ask that the parents do not enter the bus. If you have any concerns, call the bus garage. We'd be happy to talk with you. We have open communication here. Another thing, if your student didn't go to school in the morning, but you brought them in, let us know just so we know to expect them at the end of the day. Those are some safety measures. Place of safety, that's huge. And that's a big problem we have. The students don't like to stand there. They like to run around and play, but in the morning when we come to pick up the students, it could be dark and there's a lot of spots that we can't see. Plus, let's face it, there's a lot of cars that see a big yellow bus and they don't want to wait behind it and they zoom around. So if your child is venturing away from that place of safety, there's a very big risk of them getting injured. So that's why we push this, not because we want to be mean and say, oh, you have to stand there. On the bus, they have rules that we follow. And again, not to be mean, but just to help the children get to school safe. So if there's assigned seats, which some of the drivers do follow, it's because they know which kids get along, which kids could sit by each other, and which ones don't do so well. And a lot of times we get the group of the older kids in the back that like to play around too much. So they'll assign seats where they know fits best, and they try to still sit your child with their friends. So that's another safety precaution that we have. And then of course the eating, choking reasons and stuff like that. So these are some of the rules we ask that they follow, and they will get written up if they're not following. Hopefully that helps.
That place of safety is very important. We know we're going into daylight saving time. And so during pickup in the morning, it may be darker. So again, working with, as Ms. Carrie has stated, to ensure your students' safety, that they maintain that place of safety. You're absolutely right. There are times when I'm traveling in the morning and I see people go around school buses all the time, even though the stop sign is out, and that's very dangerous. So it's important, to keep your children in this place of safety, and even not assuming that, people are stopping, making sure that they stop, making sure that you see your child get on the bus and having discussions with them, right? Because there are, policies and procedures and guidelines, because busing is a privilege, and we'll let pupil service speak to that in a few. If anyone else on your team would like to share some safety tips or precautions for parents, feel free to do so.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to tell you how safe we take driving kids to and from school each day. Our drivers right here, there's 26 million kids ride buses each year. And I'll tell you what, that be sitting there in front of like 40, 50, 60 kids and get to school safe there and back each day. Imagine being a parent and you have more than 2 kids in your car. Let's not put 50 kids in your car. Let's put 60 kids in your car. And to see what these drivers do at 6 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, The hands have to go off to the driver. We have to respect that driver as being a professional, because I can tell you right now, the training these drivers go through to drive a school bus, I can tell you right now that the average driver, and I would put money on it, even though I don't gamble, I would put money on it that an average driver could not pass a bus safety inspection for a driver. He could not do it. That's how much he was involved driving these school buses. And we do it proudly here in Garfield Heights for a long, long time.
And they love it
We
too.
love it. Brenda,
Thank you.
where's Miss Brenda?
I don't know.
Okay. Brenda, did you have anything to add or did they cover it all?
I think they covered it all.
Okay, thank you. So again, in speaking to our guidelines, busing is a privilege. And so as you mentioned, the safety, assigned seats, making sure that our drivers are well trained, having respectful communication with drivers, right? And so again, busing is a privilege, we know for some, and there are guidelines that guide behaviors on the bus and expectations. And so I would like to ask Dr. Dupree if you can speak to the importance of adhering to those bus guidelines to ensure safety of students during transit, and any other information that you would like to share with parents to continue in this conversation.
Thank you, Ms. Hamilton. Hi again, parents and community members. You can see from the 12 people who are on this broadcast, and this is only a handful of us who are concerned about safety and security for your children. We have guidelines that all students are presented with at the beginning of the school year, as are you. And we simply say things in there that you may think are common sense, but they're for the safety of all the kids in the driving bus. Now imagine when you go to the mall, you go to Giant Eagle, wherever you go, and you've got 3 kids in the back seat. Well, imagine being a bus driver with 30 kids in the back seat and trying to keep order, keep it quiet, not have radios blasting so that they can concentrate and get our young people delivered safely to their destination. And when you see around the community, you'll see not only buses, but you'll see vans. And they could be going to a zoo, they could be going to a school building, to an athletic event. And all of these times of day and night are very crucial in terms of making sure everybody on board is safe. When you get parents, when you get the guidelines from the transportation department, please go over the rules for the bus so that every child will know just what is expected of them and what they should report if they see something that's not safe. We do this every year, and it's always for the children's safety as well as for the driver and a bus aide if they're on the bus. Some things that, now this is the unfortunate piece, because sometimes we have young people who do things that are not appropriate on some of our vehicles. And parents, if you would keep this in mind, a bus or a van is school property. It's the same as being in a classroom. The same rules apply. You have to behave, keep your hands to yourself, listen to the adults on the bus and that kind of thing. We have to go over these rules every year because sometimes some of you maybe get upset because you hear about a child being put off the bus. Well, every time a child is put off the bus, typically it's always for behavior. So you're not supposed to cuss at the driver. You're not supposed to cuss at each other. You're not supposed to be jumping up and down in your seat. You should not be fooling with the windows, putting them up and down and that kind of thing. There should not be any food or drink on the bus. I'm sure I left some out. Ms. Burkholz or Ms. Mims, I'm sure I left some things out.
There's many probably left out, but I mean, they're all posted on the school website for everyone to look over. There's also a page for the parents to sign and return to their drivers. Just so we know that your child has seen these rules and you have read the rules and stuff. So when you do get that phone call, it's not like surprise. Everything's posted on there. Yes, you listed some of the big ones. Keeping hands feet to themselves, not standing up, jumping over seats, stuff like that are our big issues we do have.
You know, we talk about a distracted driver on the telephone. Could you imagine a distracted driver when you're driving a school bus and you have to look up in that mirror because something's going on behind you? So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to eliminate the distraction of that driver so the driver's eyes can be forward and not backwards. And parents,
No, go ahead, Dr. Dupree.
you will notice sometimes that maybe you're walking or driving your child to school and you'll see a bus pass right by you to go to another school. Well, sometimes you're concerned that, well, how come my child can't go to that school because it appears to be closer to where we live? The reason for that is that we have boundaries that represent areas of the district. And within those boundaries, the people have to go to the schools that are appropriate to those boundaries. So we're not trying to make your job as a parent difficult. We simply have to adhere to guidelines for boundaries. The contact information that you receive in the handbook that I mentioned earlier, you have to sign it, please, and send it back to your school because we have to know that you've read it. We don't want you to get a surprise phone call about something that occurred on the bus. And frankly, you may say, well, I didn't know about that. That's why we make sure everybody has a copy of the handbook. We'd like you to read it first, sign it, talk to your young people about it. And then if you have any questions, you can call members of the transportation department. When you have a change of address, a change of email, a change in your cell phone, please let your school know and the transportation department. Because if you call the school and you update your information, that information might not get immediately to the transportation department. So please let everybody in the buildings and the transportation department know when you change your cell phone number, you move, your address, and then.
Okay, thank you. And I want to mention again for those tuning in, if you have any questions, you can text 216-342-8402 or email gwilson@ghbulldogs.org. Also, in the event that you would like to contact any of our leaders, our leadership team directly, you can gather their information from the Garfield Heights City Schools website. It's very user-friendly. You can click on schools or Department of Transportation, and it will give you the relevant context for those that are on the call, on the town hall this afternoon. Now, one other thing, as you all were talking, and I'm thinking, because I'm a parent as well, some of the tips that you've shared so far. One, making sure that my contact information is updated. Sometimes, as you said, Dr. Dupree, and I'm glad you mentioned that, we think, oh, I got a new cell phone, I got a new number, and it never even occurs to you to update the school that your number has changed. And that is so important because we want to be able to reach you in the event of an emergency, right? So make sure, even if you want to give the office a call, and I know, don't get on me, pupil services or building leaders, and your phone might be ringing a little off the hook, but go ahead and give the school a call just to verify that your information is up to date, your phone number, your address, your emergency contacts, because we want to make sure, again, that's part of the partnering with us to ensure the safety of your student piece. The other key tip that I heard was in terms of attendance. And maybe this might be more applicable to high school, middle school, but you drop your kid off to school or send them on the bus, you get a call from attendance that they're not here, right? You're making sure that you know where your children are, setting those expectations. When the bus comes to get you, you get off, you get on the bus, and when it drops you off, you go home. Making sure that if your student is not going to be in attendance, that you call and maybe even send a note so that that is an excused absence, right? We want to make sure that when students are missing school, we know that there's doctor appointments and things that come up, and making sure that that is an excused absence. Also communicating that to the bus garage is helpful, as Ms. Carey stated as well. And then also maintaining that place of safety. The time is changing, and we know that it may be a little darker upon pickup times in the morning. So we want to ensure student safety. Another tip for parents is also, when you're sending your kids on the bus or vans, it doesn't it doesn't hurt to do a book bag check also to make sure that they're not bringing anything to school that they're not supposed to bring, right? We can nip that in the bud right away. And so sometimes, they want to sneak maybe bring their little electronics to show their friend or something that they think is cool that might violate our bus guidelines. So just doing a simple book bag check to make sure that they're only bringing the materials that they need to have success in the classroom environment. Dr. Dupree, go ahead.
Two quick things, Ms. Hamilton. Thank you. One is parents, because the weather is still warm, but it's getting dark sooner. You may want to think about having them wear clothes that are somewhat reflective and not all dressed in black. Second thing is, and this has nothing to do with your parenting style, we see so many little kids like we did last week in evacuations. You may have sent them to school with a jacket, but when they leave school or sometime on their way to school, they end up hugging themselves because they're cold. But it would help us if you would remind your young people, if you leave the house with a jacket or a coat, you're supposed to wear it. So just a little tip that might help you.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, I know that there are some additional opportunities for parents to be involved. And again, I believe parent involvement is a key component to safety and behaviors in the school buildings. We know that parental parents having a parental presence, in the buildings also helps to shift culture and to support safety. Ms. Wilson, can you share some of the opportunities that are upcoming or existing for our students to become involved?
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Hamilton. I want to really start off by saying this is really a collaboration between all stakeholders. This is a collaboration between our staff members, our students, our families, and our community to really ensure that we are maximizing every opportunity that we can to ensure the safety and security of all of our students, our safety and security of all of our staff members, and ensure that we're doing it together. So there are many opportunities where we're going to come together, and I'm really going to be calling out to our families and communities for support. We want to be sure that we are working together and we are all on the same page. For transportation, we want all students to maximize out. We don't want anything to get in the way. We don't want any issues to arise, and it hinders that opportunity for them to get education. So that means us having to come together to come figure out what's the, any problems. We want to come together. We want to be sure that we're doing it, but we all understand reasoning behind decisions that are being made. And we will always make the best decision for the safety of students and all staff members and the community that's involved. So our call to action on family members. I want to see if we can come together to see if we can bring families of our students that ride bus to come together and bring any concerns or questions that they may have, and really support one another and our bus drivers and our bus aides and all of our staff members to ensure that we are getting all of our students in seats every day to learn. The attendance piece was brought up, and that's very important. We want to be sure that we are maximizing every hour. House Bill 410 has changed from days to hours. So we are monitoring the hours that the students are in our seats. So if they're coming late, if they're leaving early, if they're, tardy to class, all of those hours, every minute really counts against us. So anywhere that we gather and try to remove any barriers around transportation or getting our students, we want to be sure that we provide every opportunity that we have for it and help. We have our PTO that started last week. On October 5th, we had our first meeting at tomorrow, October 19th. Ms. Bruno at Elmwood and other hosting all in all to come out, get engaged, see how they do their building, and
Excuse me, Ms. Wilson, are you able to adjust your distance to your microphone? We had a little trouble hearing the last few statements that you made.
Is it better?
Yes, that's much better.
Okay. Our PTO meeting is tomorrow, October 19th at Elmwood at 6 p.m. And we really are calling out our families and guardians to come out and really see how they can contribute at a building level. And really, this is a great way to maximize the opportunity of being visible, seeing how you can contribute and see how we can work as partners, because we know our families are our students' first teachers, and we want to know how we can maximize our opportunity to collaborate and provide many other opportunities for our students in our building, as well as our staff. So we have our PTO meetings coming up. We also are going to be doing some collaboration with community partnerships for our Top Dog program. So it's really calling out community members, family members to have a presence on our school property from pre-K all the way to 12. So we have those opportunities that are going to be coming down, and we're going to be calling community meetings to see how we can collaborate and make our school and community and families one large entity that we are working to for the success of our students, and making it a really safe and secure environment where all want to come to school every single day together.
Thank you. And again, you said, Ms. Wilson, that the PTO meeting will take place tomorrow, which is October 19th at Elmwood. And what time is that again?
At 6 p.m.
At 6 p.m. Thank
Yes.
you. Ms. Klopman.
Yes, so I just want to make mention, parents, please do not have the school number blocked. It is so important that if we call you, we're calling for a reason to let you know your child has done something fantastic or maybe not so fantastic, but please do not have the school's numbers blocked. It's almost share the story about why it's so important not to have a school number blocked. Last year, we had a student who was having an asthma attack. His inhaler was empty, and we tried reaching the child's parent. No answer, no answer, no answer. We ended up having to go to the emergency, calling EMS because we could not get a hold of the child's parents. I go there, we get there. Of course, the parent is furious that nobody called me. Oh, yes, we called. This number. We could not leave a message. Come to find out, the child had blocked the school's number, unbeknownst to the parent. So parents, please check your phones to make sure your child has not blocked the school's number, because this was an emergency and we had to step into action to make sure the child was okay. And in the end, the parent did apologize because she saw that the school had called once she had unblocked whatever is on the phone to block the number. So please, please, please do not have your child's school's number blocked. Thank you.
No, thank you. That's very important, Ms. Klopman. Thank you for sharing that, right? Again, making sure, a reminder, call your schools. After you watch, for some of you watching the replay, it may be a little later, but after the replay, just feel free to, after the broadcast, quick email to your, or phone call to your buildings, just to make sure that your information is updated. Ms. Wilson.
Yes, and I just wanted to make one comment about that contact and being updated. If you have not updated final forms, please take the time to do so. I am going to work on getting a QR code where we can put on our website for families to update that contact. If you have not done so, please take the time and look for that. It's very important for us to have updated contact for all students. We don't only call home for good reasons. I mean, bad reasons. We want to call home for good reasons as well. So we want to build that relationship. We want to communicate with you, and we want to see you in our building. So if you have not done so, please update your final forms, and we will be putting something out so you can easily access final forms and make sure all of that is updated.
Okay, thank you. And if we don't have any questions that have come through, Ms. Wilson, there's a couple things that I wanted to mention in closing. Are there any other additional final comments before we kind of drive everything home? Mr. Hurt?
Also, in addition to what Ms. Wilson spoke of, contact information, parents, if you receive an attendance call, please follow up. Please follow up with the attendance calls unless you are sure why your student was absent from that class or from the building that day. Knowledge, parent knowledge, parent accountability, and parent knowing has done a great deal to help us in curtailing, cutting, and skipping, and making sure that we know at all times where your child is. So please, if you receive an attendance call, please follow up with that call.
Thank you. So again, I would like to thank the team for being present to share this valuable information with our families, parents, and stakeholders. I would also like to give a special thank you to those behind the scenes, Mr. Whalen and Mr. Fruits, for working to help us with the technical piece. This would not be possible without them working. Also, I wanted to mention that it is National School Bus Safety Week. So we just want to say we do appreciate our Department of Transportation and our drivers. Thank you for all that you do for our district and to ensure the safety of our students while they're in transit. Parents and families who are bus riders, you see your bus riders, give them a word of appreciation when you see them in the morning, whether it's thanking them verbally, honking at them, thumbs up, because we do appreciate our drivers and all that they do. So again, thank you for spending time with us this afternoon. Please stay tuned for updates on future town halls. And again, thank you. And we look forward to having a successful rest of the